gonna do a rather short lecture with you, okay? Because I'm not feeling 100%, okay? I had some setbacks also, okay? That's why I haven't started even earlier. So at this time, I'm just waiting for you to join the chat and let us have a very lively and healthy discussion concerning this very important question, which was a question that I asked myself many years ago. Okay. And I know that there are millions, if not billions, of people all around the world who at some point in time would ask themselves the same question because they're seeking for an answer, okay, to life. I believe everyone wants to know the purpose of life, and everyone would like to know about this intelligence or power that we refer to as God. And so, from a very young age, with tears in my eyes and me smote in my chest, I was asking myself, who am I? Because I've always had a very misunderstood life. I couldn't really understand myself. And that's why I'm actually doing this lecture to show you where I actually came from, or how I started in doing what I am doing now. It's very important for you to know how I arrive here at this place and stage in my life, speaking about esoteric things, speaking about metaphysical things, and so on. And to be truthful with you, I had no prior background to any of the things that I do speak about. The only book that have to do with anything spiritual that I would have ever read before my experience was basically the Bible. And I became a part of a religious organization very early in life, not because someone witnessed to me and I become scared or anything like that. It was because of the question I asked myself. And when I asked myself the question, I made the decision that I gonna take that path because that is what I was seeing around me. And that's the way how we were raised and so on. So I decide for myself that I was going and join an organized religious body. Okay. And I can remember quite vividly that the preacher was preaching and I wasn't even listening to anything that he was really saying. Okay. All I wanted was for him to give the invitation because they normally do that. Okay. And so I made that decision because I wanted the answer to the question, who am I? Okay. And who is God? And so you might be asking yourself that same question. Okay. And so all throughout my life, from a very young age, when I get into the church system, preachers were like want to like almost want to worship me in a way. They were saying so much thing about me as a little boy growing up that sometimes it used to feel very strange. Okay, they would see me as being peculiar. They would see me as being called out. They would see me as being separated. They would see that I'm a man who would do a mighty work. They will see that I'm a man who would touch many people's lives. They will say to me that God called me and God was going to use me mightily. They could have seen something in me that I couldn't really see in myself from a little boy. And I remember quite vividly my aunt, whenever she goes to church and I wasn't there, the preacher used to always tell her, I asked her first of all, where is me? Where am I? And he would all the time say he would not be able to preach his sermon the same way if he doesn't see me, okay, in the congregation. And that kind of thing follow me even up to my adult life. Every place I put my foot in where religion is concerned, whoever was there would always see something inside of me, okay? And will always say, I'm gonna do great things. I remember quite vividly the last church, the second to last, there wasn't the last, the second to last church that I put my feet in. The preacher was giving me so much accolade that I, deep within, was saying to myself that I do not ever want that person to give me the opportunity to speak to his congregation, because I realized he was not as gifted. And I didn't want to sound more gifted in the word than him, because he was the pastor. And this man was a man who is basically running a very massive organization in my country, okay? And he would speak all of the things that basically happening right now in my life. He spoke them even before, and I wrote them down and so on. Okay, and I'm saying all of this to lay a foundation, because those of you who are listening to me, I can guarantee you that you're on the right path. I can guarantee you that this is a great moment of your life. I can guarantee you that everything that I'm speaking to you about is based from experience. I can guarantee you when I put my books together, I had no prior knowledge of these things. And, you know, there are people on the internet who had prior knowledge and access to certain knowledge, and people put them on a high place. People give certain accolade to these people. They call them great. They call them great philosopher. They call them mystic. They call them all different kind of names. Okay, and people give honor to them. But I always ask myself the question that when it comes to spiritual greatness and spiritual attainment in life, why is it I've never seen the display of a melanated one like me, as much as I would see many others who they would lay all of these accolades upon and say all of these great things about them. Yet, when the man from the burning bush that doesn't consume walk out from that burning bush and speak to me in another language, he was a black man just like me. And he had a full head of hair. He had no beards. Okay? But he had a full head of hair. Not really like a big afro, but like a little mini, you know, fro. And he had on this African clothes, like the dashiki, the top was like this African dashiki and so on. And he spoke to me. And I was like a little boy again, and he was like a man. And there was the bridge over the water. I experienced the fire, the wind, the earthquake. The earth was quaking, everything. All of these things was happening. All of the elements was in play. And the strange thing about that is that I was listening to a white man, not knowing who he was, didn't know what was his background. Just that I was working at the post office at that time, and I had just turned 30. But when I was 29, I told a brethren that when I turned 30, great things was going to happen in my life. Okay. And so I was listening to this man, and I didn't know who he was. I didn't know his background or anything like that. Okay. And while I was there, my spirit told me to just a certain way and to lie down because I would be given a dream right away. And to be honest with you, by the time I lay down, that was it. And what seemed to be like a dream is like if I was conscious, yet unconscious. And by the time I wake out of the dream, it was in the morning. And when I was having that dream, I was so conscious being on the back of a certain animal that could fly. The animal looks like the animal you see in the movie Avatar, when one was going to become like a great mighty leader. He had to basically tame the animal first before he could ride the back of that power or that animal, that bird or whatever. Okay, I can't remember the name of it at this time. And then in order for him to show himself to his people as a mighty leader, there was a bigger bird, animal that flies, that he had to use the one that he was riding, and he had to really go somewhere above this one and throw himself up and grab this other one and then connect with his hair. Okay, if you know the movie Avatar, one of my favorite movie. Okay. And then when he conquered this particular animal, and the people see that he conquered this particular power or this particular animal, then they accept him as a mighty leader among them. Okay, it was something like that. Okay, it was like a mighty eagle. Let me put it that way. And I was going through like what seems to be like a cloud, but in my mind I thought it was like water. So I said to myself in the dream that I'm going to hold my breath, because sometimes when you dream and you're in water, you can feel like you're stifling, but that didn't happen. I break like into another dimension. And that's where I had the whole experience of the man walking out from the burning bush that doesn't consume, the black man, and speak to me in a different language. But I know that he was saying, I am sending you, and so on. Okay. So, to cut a whole long story short, what really amazes me and really bring me to a certain place is just recently certain things start to pop up on my feed. And I was shocked to see the things that I know, the things that I experience and the things that I know. It brings more clarification when I used to always do this. Never see anyone do it before. Never, ever seen anyone do it before. People do other things, but not that. When I first started, I used to start with my two hands over my forehead. Then I used to put my two hands on my head. I didn't understand all of these things at the time. Okay, but I would have already gotten my experience, right? Which is I call my initiation, okay? And I'm not speaking about the man from the fire. I'm talking about when I turned 45, okay? Because the man from the fire, that was when I was 30 years, okay? But before 30 years, when I was 17, that was the very first time that the cloud opened and the voice spoke to me and said, I am he who have been spoken of old. I'm come. And I was looking for a man to come from the sky, because we were taught that a man would come from the sky. No man never came from the sky. And I was seeing two different realms. I was seeing the realm where people being tormented, and I see the realm where I was being very happy and free, and so on. And so when people talk about heaven and hell and so on, I realize, you understand, it's different parts of the mind and different, states of consciousness or awareness that takes place within. Okay. And all of that brings me to the experience I had when I was 30. And when I was having that experience, inside of me, I knew that this was the same voice that spoke to me when I was 17. And then when I turned 45, and I had the most mighty and mystical experience that I would have ever had, where I burst my crown chakra and became invisible, became pure consciousness. All of that ties back to the experiences I was having. So all my life, as I said, I was having mystical experiences, and I was having a misunderstood life because I just couldn't really understand myself. And so I asked myself, who am I and who's God? And I set out my life. My entire ambition in life was to know who am I and who's God. And so if you're on this path and you're seeking and you're a seeker and you're here, I'm telling you, this is a great moment for you. Just recently, I met one of my schoolmates, and I had my daughter with me, and he was asking me why it was so late, why it's so late, to start my family, And I said, this was all planned by me, You see, people believe when you get a woman impregnated and you bring a child and so on, family, and they believe that's how it really works and all of that. But no, it's more than that. Okay. So, my brother, my sisters, every time I gather here to speak with you, to do a lecture, everything comes from my experience. And that's why I'm telling you, you have to seek to get experience for yourself. So the person who believe that there's some entity on the outside that are going to come and save them, the person who believe that the Bible is literal and that it is secular history, they could always believe that. That is just a belief. Okay, they haven't really experienced what they're talking about. But when you experience what you're talking about, you would realize that you shouldn't judge someone based on their choice they make in life. So if someone wants to join secret society, that's their prerogative. If someone wants to join a religious organization, that's their prerogative. Because if you look deeply, you will realize the same people who start all of the religious organizations, especially like in the Caribbean, where I born and grew up, and so on, is the same people who basically start all the secret societies and so on too. Okay. So you can say, well, this is a cult and you don't want to have anything to do with the occult. But you can't have occult without cult. So you have to know which one is the cult and which one is the occult, and which one that is leading you in the right path. Because, for example, the thing that I'm discovering based on my experience and the many books that were written and the many men who was put on a high place for these same things, it makes me feel a certain kind of way about myself. It's like with great power come great responsibility, and I'm learning to choose my words more carefully, not because I fear, but as the wisdom and the understanding grow. Okay. And so when I had my experience and I started to share on the internet, no one ever reached out to me and say, okay, this experience you have, such and such and such. Never. But people want me to become a part of this, become a part of that, and so on. But I'm not here to judge or to condemn any angle. Okay. All I know that what happened to me and the path my life has taken, I'm gonna continue with that. So if people believe that certain things are demonic, certain people believe certain things is of the devil. Well, I born for that. And if people believe certain things is God, I born for that too. I'm gonna follow my purpose, I'm gonna follow my calling, and I will definitely encourage you to do the same. Like for example, when I start speaking, I remember a young man in my country approached me and he said, bro, you know what you getting involved with? I say, what are you talking about? He said, bro, you messing with the esoteric? I said, what are you talking about? Why is esoteric? And this guy used to go from schools to schools with certain people, with some Caucasian people who come in the island. They go into the school talking to the children about Jesus and this and that. And he used to go with these same people, yet he used to be talking things about the church and even the church he attending, that the people don't have no power and this and that, and so on. And then when I get further understanding concerning esoteric and so on, not knowing I was doing all that talking, the esoteric and all of that, and people was reaching out to me and saying, bro, I know you read this book, I know you read that book, and I never read those books before. Then when I started to get money, then I started to acquire those books, okay? And I remember quite vividly, I asked that young man, up to this day, he never answered me. I say, you asked me about esoteric, nobody never think about esoteric, but I want to ask you the same question. Who introduced you to esoteric and so on? And he always seems to be like he's scared to speak. Like he's afraid to say, but it's esoteric. And yet he was the first person who's telling me the things that I was speaking and so on is esoteric. But he's afraid to tell me how he really know about esoteric. But you want to know how I know about esoteric when I didn't even know there was such a word exists named esoteric. So my brother and my sisters, the reason why I could be here, and it didn't take me long to start teaching. And when I study certain men who they have real high up, and most of the time it's not men who look like me in terms of being melanated. And they honor these people so highly. They speak of these people so highly. And when I check out their work and so on, everything is just basically like a confirmation for me. It's not new knowledge or anything coming to me. It's just a confirmation. Because it's like my experience open up a door, a window of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and you just keep expanding all the time. Then when I study certain ancient bodies and organization that was here a long time ago, even before I ever dreamed to born, I'm shocked. So I'm saying all of this because I want you to feel comfortable that this is not just another man who's on social media, who's just thinking about making another dollar. You see, when I started YouTube, it was out of my heart, based on the experience I've had. I said, I can't keep this a secret. I can't not share this experience with the world. I just want to help the people of the world with my experience. And then I remember I asked my mother what my schooling was like, because when it was time for me to go to a higher level in terms of a secondary level, the children had an age gap whereby they could do this exam, and I think it couldn't be beyond the age of 12. But I was older. So I asked my mother why it was so, because I never repeat in school and so on. But my mother told me when I was a little boy growing up, I never wanted to go to school. I wanted to go under the fruit trees, like the mango trees. And I just wanted to heap up a bunch of mangoes and leave them there for the passerby. For people, it's like I all the time want to do good for people. I want to feed people with something. So at the time it was just mangoes. Okay, but this time now I'm feeding people with the knowledge and the experience that I would have had. And there's so many books that have been written on what I am teaching about. I've never heard anyone speak about the inner sun science and technology. I started to speak about the inner sun science and technology. I've never heard anybody speak about the single eye conference of 9. I've been inspired with that for so long, the single eye conference of 9. I started to teach people that the single eye is not of the devil. The single eye is the RCNA of God and so on. And then certain symbols, I started to say to myself, if I have to use this symbol, this is the symbol I would use. And then I realized symbol that certain organization have and how they get those that kind of symbol. You know, people have all kind of thing to say, but I'm just telling you what's my experience. And so people start reaching out to me on the internet and ask me if I'm a part of this and if I'm a part of that and so on. I've never been a part of anything. And I'm not saying I might not be a part of anything. But I'm saying I am discovering so much. Okay? But I'm telling you the honest truth. And so I'm just going to continue to do my research. When I go back home, there's a lot of these things I see that I'm going to dive into because I'm like shocked. I'm like, what? All these things is on the internet all the time? How these things are correlating with the things I've been saying? So my brother, my sisters, this intelligence on which I speak is not something that we make up. It's not something that come out of a book. This is not a man repeating what he hears someone else says. I would have had a genuine experience. And sometimes the things that move me is like, for example, when I found a video on the internet when this and they have it's written men who found who experience awakening, something like that. Men who experience spiritual awakening and so on. And I didn't see anybody that looked like me. They have Sadhguru, all of these people there. They had Rupert Spira and so on. They had Muji. I can't remember all of the names. They have all of these people as people who experience enlightenment. But I never see they had someone that looked like me to say they had achieved enlightenment. So, my brother, my sisters, what intelligence could have translated these things to me? Is it any different to these other people who are looking up to the ancestors as great philosophers and mystics and so on? It means that something is hidden. Something is hidden from us as a people. It's either something hidden or something has been stolen from us as a people. And when you know the truth will definitely set you free. That's why I always feel free to speak. I always feel free to share my experience with others. There are people who carry title as grandmasters. There are people who carry title as imperial wizard, this, that. They carry all of these titles and everything on the internet. When it comes to strange, that is very, 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 very strange to me. That is why it's hard for me to join myself to any organization that I do not have the knowledge that it starts from someone like myself or someone that looks like me. It's very hard. Okay. You see, I grew up and I was taught certain things in school. But what I was taught in school doesn't add up to the experience that I would have had. They told us Columbus came to these parts, but they never tell us that he brought the Bible with him to take away what the people had already known. The people were so connected to nature. The people always had their mystical order. While they, the conquerors, they had their agenda. So how am I gonna sit and refuse to speak on subject like that? When I was a little child, growing up, certain things was fed to my subconscious mind to make me think and act a certain way and make me have a certain belief system. And it's all built on a lie. From my discovery, there's no superiority. From my discovery, there's one power. And everyone who is open-minded should have access to that power, which is the power of their minds. I honestly believe, before the invaders came, that there were mystical men who used to be teaching the people how to believe in themselves, how to love themselves, and how to be connected to nature. I honestly believe that. Even this place that I'm standing here right now, they have never told the real truth about this place. For example, there's a certain tree up there. They told us that it was Captain Bligh brought that tree. Yet you can go all over the island and you see that tree, that breadfruit tree. But they tell you he brought that first one. So with enlightenment and self-realization, there's certain things that you will uncover. And when you uncover these things, okay, they might say, oh, you're saying too much. You can't say too much. You reveal too much. But everyone has a conscience. And you can't live your life because you want the material things of this world to consume you so much that you're willing to keep quiet on your own experience in life. You're willing to destroy your own legacy for material things. That is not me. That is why in my country, people would say, he's stupid, he's crazy, he lost his mind, because I do not have the same belief system like them. I refuse to live with a colonized mind. I refuse to live with a mind of limitation. I know that I'm limitless. I know all of my experiences can go all the way back to Egypt, ancient Egypt. I know it. I will never, ever join myself to any religious organization as long as I live on this planet, believing that someone gonna come from the sky and save me. When I read the Bible, it tells you of a man who says, see to it you tell no man, keep it a secret. When you read that same book, it tells you if your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light. But I'm telling you that there's an eye in me that you can't see. But when the eye open, I change from mortal to immortality in a twinkle of an eye, and I'm still here. But there are people who live their life believing they're going to flip out of their body. And they tell them they're going to have a rapture, and they believe that. And they tell them Jesus is the answer. But the answer is in you. You see, if you believe that there was a man 2,000 years ago, and you do not believe that that man was a mystic, if you believe that, right? You have to be a mystic. You have to be a master magician. You see, most people would accept the word miracles. But when you use the word magic, they don't want to have anything to do with magic. But I can guarantee we're all magicians. And it doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter where you born and grew up. All of us have a mind. But it's the arrangement of that mind. And so, if you don't like change, it will be hard for you to unlearn and relearn and reprogram your subconscious mind. But I'm telling you, based on my experience, seeking to know who am I and who is God, I'm telling you the truth. When I discover who am I discover God. When I discover God is when I discover my true self, my true essence. And I know that I'm God, having a human experience. I know I'm God in flesh. So for me to believe and worship some man of 2,000 years ago and say that man was God in flesh and he doesn't look like me, that in itself is blasphemy. That is me living in self-doubt and self-hate. And they convince the masses to believe that God has an enemy and he can't forgive his enemy. But they convince you that when you become part of some religious organization, you must forgive your enemies. But this Savior that's going to save you, he can't forgive his enemy. So he built a place to put his enemy, to punish his enemy. That doesn't make any sense. Not until you take responsibility for what is happening in your life, because you understand the law of cause and effect. And to understand the law of cause and effect, all you have to do is look at the law of reproduction. You see, every seed, every species, it always reproduces after its own kind. You can't plant pumpkin and reap watermelon. So you can see what is happening on this planet, and you can come up with what you see. Because everything will always express itself. So what is taking place in secret is only a matter of time before it would be revealed. So my brother and my sisters, speaking to you here, coming from a very humble background, a man who never had any knowledge about the esoteric, a man who never had any knowledge about metaphysics and all of these things. And within 1 year, I was able to start teaching. As a matter of fact, before I started my YouTube channel in 2017, around 2016, I started gathering the same place right here, and I invited about 6 people, and then I started speaking. And then I started finding the confirmation on the internet, and I found someone who looked like me, who was teaching things that I could have resonated with. A man by the name of Bobby Hemmett. And I listened to Bobby Hemmett, but it took me a while before I could have even listened to Bobby Hemmett, because we grew up believing that when people express themselves and use certain words, you call it coarse word, we call it dirty word, some people call it explicit word or something like that. Okay? But they use, you know, certain terminology to make you feel a way when you hear someone use those kind of expression. So it took me a while before I could have really listened to Bobby Hemmett. Same thing with I listened to some of Phil Valentine too, and people like trying to remember his name, Delbert Blair, and so on. I listen a little bit of John Henry Clark and Brother Ben and so on. Okay. And I just started to get confirmation after confirmation after confirmation from many different areas. So I was listening to people who look like me. I was listening to people who doesn't look like me and so on. I was listening to everybody and I was seeing who making sense. And I remember quite vividly a man doing a lecture. I listened to a man do a lecture. And he was the first man I ever heard speak about what I would have experienced in the spiritual realm when I had my spiritual birth. The birth from above, the birth from the skull. I can't remember the name of the lecture, but the man's name was Manly PR. Because you see, I just be divinely led to certain things. Just be divinely led. And I remember just listening to this man lecture, and this man expressed something. I said, this is the only man I've ever heard speak about what happened to me. Because he was speaking about basically death and after when a person died and so on and so on. And this was the same thing. So I know that a birth is a death and a death is a birth and so on. And I know the rebirth is like a death in the spiritual realm. And there are many different theories about this man and all of that and all of that and all of that, which I wouldn't go into. Okay? Because there's so much of them I could talk about. Who I just, I'm going to just get connected to. You understand? To know the teaching and everyone just bringing confirmation to the experience. So I'm saying all of this to let you know that if you're asking yourself the same question, who am I and who's God and so on, you're looking for answer in life, my brother, my sister, I'm saying to you that I've been called and sent to you to bring a message of self-realization to you. I've been called and sent to bring to you the teaching of the inner sun science and technology to create your reality consciously. All the books that I put together, many times I wake up, I'm going to check the time, it was 3 in the morning. I remember quite vividly, I used to just wake up all in the morning because one time I heard someone speak about a man named Roaming who says when you wake up in the morning breeze have things to tell you, don't go back to bed, don't go back to sleep. All these things happening in my after I don't get all of my experiences, okay? And I just wake up and start to write. That's how I put my books together. I didn't know anything about the esoteric. I didn't know anything about metaphysics. I didn't know any of these things. I never joined any brotherhood. I remember quite vividly working in the post office, a man approached me. And he said to me, I want to invite you to a meeting. And I said, what kind of meeting? And he said, a large meeting. And I was being very much judgmental. I turned around to him and I said, nah, I'd rather stay poor. That's what I said to him. And the reason why I said that is because many years ago, I remember one of my cousins who went to work and there was a man and his work who was doing a little bit better than him financially, and the man was encouraging him to join and was telling him that he would always have money and he would never be out of money and so on and all of that. And I remember quite vividly the man had given him a chain and so on and all of that. So, and then there have always been that fear in my family. Because I remember many years ago too, there was a man who died in my village. And when he died in my village, the people who came to his funeral, they just a certain way, and all of them had a piece of instrument in their hand. Some had knives, some had sword, some had cutlass, some had axe. Every piece of tool that you could think about that they used to build. Some have a square, and my mother was just saying negative things. Oh, this one look like the devil. Could tell he evil. Could tell he this. You could tell he that. I'll never forget that. And he had men, he had women. And the family couldn't deal with the funeral the procession, whatever was going on, you had people outside the house, like guards, all over, all around, and there was people who go in and deal with the dead body and so on and so on. And I always remember that. I leave my house and follow these people right up to the cemetery. I walk. I think I was bare feet, everything, as a boy. I remember that. Okay. And there were people from all walks of life. Some were policemen, some were custom officers, some came in their work clothes and so on. They're all over the place. You understand? So I know my country full of a lot of people who belongs to, you know, these kind of things and so on. And I have no judgment towards no one. Absolutely no judgment towards anyone. I'm not going to speak about things I do not know. All I know, there's a lot of things that are revealing to me that I am shocked about, to see the level that I've reached, okay? And so if you believe this level is of the devil, I'm going 100% with it, okay? Because I've always been the person to follow my intuition. I've always been the person to follow my heart. That's why I follow Christian organization for 25 long years. As a seeker, was never really one who bent his mind that this is the absolute and there's nothing else. I never had that kind of mindset. So my brother, my sisters, it's always a pleasure for me to come and do, you know, these lectures with you. And, you know, when I started, I wasn't feeling too well, but the word that's coming from my mouth, because I know that there are people out there that I must reach. I know I must do a work. I know I have a legacy to fulfill. I know with great power comes great responsibility. I do not see myself as ordinary, but extraordinary. And I want you to see things that way too. Those of you who've been supporting me, those of you who have purchased my books, I'm very much grateful to you. I want to say to you, keep them in your homes. Read them to your children and your children's children. And I mean it. I would never, ever forget, as a little boy, my grandmother being so poor, yet she had a picture of a man in her house, a man with blue eyes and blonde hair. And I would sit and stare at that man for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I just staring, because I was told that this man is the savior of the world and this man came to save us and so on. Yet my grandmother wasn't a person who goes to church and all of that and so on. And I used to always wonder, why is it, you know, they never had, my grandparents, they never had their own land, they never had this, they never had that and so on. And I think I've come to understand and know, and why many people back in those days, you find those same pictures in their homes. And instead of a blessing, it was like a cursing. But I know I've broken the curse. I know this is the end of the generational curse. And so many people never believe that they be going to church, belong to the religious organization, yet they're still under curse. But I'm not here to convince you. I'm just here to share my experience. And I will continue to share my experience. And so you might listen to me and think, well, oh, you hear this person say that. No. I know exactly what I'm doing. When I put the Bible together, the 66 books of magic are dedicated to Abdul and Neville God for a purpose. But if you read the Black Mystic from Ethiopia, then you understand. And then if you check out the videos that they get angry with me about, when I expose and talk about Neville and so on, I didn't say that to try to make the man look bad or try to say anything bad, because I'm never, and though I don't want to talk about things I do not have experience about. So it's not about judgment. It's just that When you look around and you see the ruling families in a certain country, and you see one of the leading family, and you see how they pass them down from their people to 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 now, and you see a pattern, and you see a pattern throughout the islands, and you see a certain set of people, you would know something's not adding up. And then when you see people who look like you, it seems like they all want to keep a close lip. Why is it so? So people been speaking about this man was a mistake, this man was a philosopher. So many of them, and they have so many examples to share. What happened to us? I would like people to have photos of me in their homes because I know what I experienced. It's not worshiping. It's you embracing your ancestors. So when I tell someone, get a photo, whether you want to have a photo of Malcolm X, whether you want to have a photo of Martin Luther King, whether you want to have a photo of whoever you want to have. Rasta men, they normally have photos of Bob Marley, they have photos of Selassie, they have all of these different things. When I do my own little research, I realize what it means to become a Ras. not people dreading their hair and doing all of this and carrying it. People normally call me Ras, people call me all different. People call me prophet, people call me pastor, people call me all these things. I do answer. And then there are those who call me stupid, there are those who call me crazy. There are those who ask me if I'm Muslim. But all in all, my brother and my sisters, my ancestors who visit me, when you accept me, you accept your ancestors who visit me. I could never forget the man from the burning bush that doesn't consume. That Ethiopian looking man. I don't put a name, I don't put a name to him. But I cannot deny my experience. There's no $1 billion or $1 trillion anyone could give me in this world to deny my experience. No, I can't. And I'm not saying as one man, I'm an island. I'm not an island. There are things I don't know. There are things I would like to know. There are more about certain things I would like to know. I prefer you come and give me knowledge about those things. Recommend books, do this, but don't ask me to join. That must be something done off my free will. And so if you're listening to me and you feel in your heart to reach out to me, you might want to send 2 books, 3 books, 4 books, 5 books, because I've been collecting books. If you reach out to me, if I had those books already, I say I have that book. Because there's a lot of books I would like to get. Secret Knowledge of All Ages, I would like to get a book too. But the way how I feel, I just want to serve humanity, that's all. I just want to serve humanity. I just want to use my ability for the upliftment of humanity, that's all. I just want to serve humanity. Coming out here in my purpose means everything to me. I know that I'm in my purpose. I know that I'm in my calling. I'm actually getting very emotional speaking to you. Because I know that I'm not lying to you, and I will never lie to the people who listens to me and the people who believe what I am saying. I've been teaching for years. Whether I get views or don't get views, someone reach out to me and come and ask me if I shadow ban. It doesn't matter. It's not going to change the experience I have had. And the more I discover certain things through just doing a little research and seeing certain things and certain things just popping up for me around this time to show me. I know. Okay. So, my brother, my sisters, I want to thank you all very much. I'm just going to read these few comments. Okay. And just go maybe another 20 minutes or so. And finish this lecture. Okay. But let me say to you, in any way you could help me. I'm not speaking about money. Books, information, all of these things. That's what I'm more interested in. Okay. I might not be able to read all of them, but I want to have them. Okay, they mean a lot to me because I had no knowledge, no prior knowledge before my experience. And it's very, 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 very heartbreaking for me to see everybody else is enlightened. They're referring to everybody else have been enlightened, being self-realized. Yet, no one is saying this black man or this melanated man. So, I'm looking for answers just like everyone else. But more and more, what I would have experienced is just open up more and more for me. Could there be that there was a stolen science and technology? Could it be that someone would have stolen your identity? But I know that my identity is my divinity. Okay? And it can be bought with money. So, with that, let me read the comment. I want to thank my brother Nimrod for reaching out. It's really a blessing when you have people of like-mindedness who could, reach out, and you could sense people energy wherever they are. Well, just recently I was seeking for an answer, and the intelligence within tell me call a certain person, and they'll give me the answer. Someone very close, and I call that person live in a far different country. And when they say, yo, I was supposed to call you to tell you to bring this to you, blah, 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 I got it in a dream, blah, blah, blah. I said, I know. How you know? I said, because I'm connected. So, my brother, my sisters, some people do not believe in the psychic power. Some people do not believe in their telepathic power. Some people do not believe. Okay? Some people believe that anything that is not according to the religious organization, it is witchcraft. It is this, is that. But up to now, I never really get a true definition of what is witchcraft. I never got a true definition of the things that they're telling you is of the devil. And the people who are saying that, they'll never say money is of the devil. They'll never say money is demonic. And I would always hold to that. If you want to tell me what I experience is of the devil, it is demonic and all of that, then you have to say money is of the devil and money is demonic too. You'd have to say electricity. You have to say all of these different things have been given to the world. Because all of these things that was given to the world, these men discovered the same kind of things. Some of these same things, some of these same things. Some of them was introduced. Some join this, some join that, and never join anything. It's natural. So it could either be a real mystic, or it could be a fake mystic. Okay. Oh, it could be a mistake. Anyway, let me just read comments. So thank you, Nimrod. Greetings to all enlightened ones. Thank you very much, seekers and daughters on the path. So you see, my brother is even welcoming the doubters. I welcome the doubters too. I like to have the doubters because remember, what I'm speaking is not something based on belief. You have to put it to work and you see for yourself. Okay. Someone say, what's up, big man? What's up, RR? He said, Bumbo Clot. You know, it sound like a Jamaican here. The Greed X. He going with all the sevens. Finish work. Someone say, me too. Maybe he too must, I guess he was asking himself, who am I? And who's God? Okay. And that is Jeff West. Tabari Skills. Grand Rising to you too. And love to you. Jeff Westby says, I learned to call UFOs. I had ball lightning enter my house and look around. I seen 4-dimensional being enter my room. I remember also a being that visited me and touched me. And I could see while I was unconscious and asleep. And I didn't know I was asleep. I thought I was awake. And this being was watching me, and I watching the being face to face. Man looked just like me. He has a mark crossed by his face, something like this singer. The singer from Africa, named Seal. It's called him Seal. He had something like a mark. I know this was like a being from another galaxy or something like that. You know what I mean? And it was when I said to myself, what is he doing in my house that I live alone, that I was alone? You understand? I was sitting in a chair and everything. I think I fell asleep there and everything. It seemed like I was awake. And from that time, I started becoming more wiser and wiser and wiser. Things just start happening to me. Like I just hook up to another channel. You understand? A communication. And I used to get scared, of the knowledge that comes to me. I used to say, man, I can't talk these things. I might be killed, but I'm not afraid of death anymore. I'm not. Honestly, I'm not. I used to be afraid. I mean, really afraid, but I'm not anymore. I understand that it is inevitable. We all got to die. It's part of life. You understand? But you want to make sure you fulfill your purpose. You want to do the things you want to do before you leave here. Okay? Someone say, I started and stopped rain and storms. You see, sometimes when you say something, people think it's spooky, people think it can't be done and so on. But when they read in the Bible, they're going to read and say, Joshua, whichever name you want to use, he stopped the sun. Okay? They're going to believe that. So he stopped time. Okay? And changed time to his will. But my brother and my sisters, if you see the Bible as an esoteric book, if you see it as a magic book, which I do see it as a magic book, then you can prove it in your own life. And you will see that there are people in this world who rather speak to you from a self-development standpoint. They rather speak to you from a self-help standpoint. They rather speak to you from a new age standpoint, from all different angles, but they never want to come and really show you all these things that are hidden in the Bible. Okay, and that there are people on this earth who've been kept slaves by the Bible. And it is because of the way how it's been interpreted to them. But if it's been interpreted another way, it will help them. Because, for example, this main character that they believe in, these men and women who claim to be teachers, who claim to be prophets, they are only teaching them about the man. They're not teaching them what the man taught. And these are the people who turn around and call me an atheist. They will call me stupid, they call me crazy. They will say blasphemy, they say all of these things. But I'm saying, if you believe the man, okay, if you actually believe that there was a man, I would like to teach you what the man taught. Because I said, let this mind be in you. That was in the same man. Therefore, if you turn water into wine, I must be able to teach you how to turn water into wine. That's why I have a book by that title, How to Turn Water into Wine. If you could have break bread and fish and feed thousands, then I'm supposed to be able to do the same thing. So when I use my conscious and my subconscious mind, and I use my 5 senses and so on, and I use it in the spiritual world, the non-physical world, and I see the thing established in this physical world, what are you going to do to convince me, to tell me that I am wrong and I am of the devil? Well, then everybody in this world is serving the devil. Because everybody using money. And money came into that world, came into this world by that same science and technology. And if you study money and you study the sun, that powers all of humanity, you see the same thing. If you study the last sowing and reaping, you will see the same thing. And you study the human psyche, you see the same thing. So this is not demonic, as you might think. Because what is really demonic? I would like someone to really explain to me what is demonic. I am open for discussion with anyone. I'm open for discussion with a Christian. I'm open for discussion with a priest. I am open for discussion with a person from a secret society. I don't care who you be. I'm open for discussion. I discuss with anyone. I'll have a conversation with anyone. But don't tell me I must call you any Lord. Don't tell me I must call you Master. Don't tell me none of that. I'm willing to have conversation with anyone. I'm open to speak with anyone. You want to call me, you want to have a conversation, I'll speak with you. But I'll never deny my experience. Okay? And I will always say this, and I'm saying this to the people who listen to me. If my experience is what Christians would call you get possessed with demon, a demon take you over and so on, well then, I'm a highly demonic man right here. If that's the case. And it means that I was destined for this from birth. And it leads me to ask, who am I? And who is God? No preacher. Could make me think different. Unless they could display turning water into wine or walking on water, if it is literal. You can't say one part is symbolic and another part is literal. It's either it is in the entire book is symbolic or the entire book is literal. And if all these people that have been spoken about in the Bible did exist, then tell me one thing they would have done or one thing they would have said that wasn't first a thought or first an idea, that wasn't first in their mind. Then, if you believe that Jesus was a literal man who walked the earth 2,000 years ago, tell me which miracle he would have done that wasn't first a thought or first an idea in his mind. Tell me how he could have spit on the ground and give a man sight if it wasn't first a thought or idea in his mind. Tell me how he could have turned water into wine if it wasn't first a thought or first an idea in his mind. So how are you going to tell me that the Bible is not a book of mind science? The only how I could be proven wrong is if a man could call a dead man from the grave. Because you can't plant pumpkin and reap watermelon. If that man exists and he's in you, you have to do the same work. The exact work, what I'm telling you, you could do the same work if you understand it the right way. Because right now I'm calling some people from the grave. The psychological grave. The spiritual grave. So they go wake up. For a man to say he started and stopped rain and storms, People go laugh at him. I've done these things too. But, you know, sometimes people might say, well, okay, he would have stopped anyway. He would have come anyway. And they don't see it set up there already. People going to think that way. My brother say, grand rising and peace to the gods and goddesses. Some people would say, I am not God. Then when I ask them, well, who are you? You have to declare who you be. Then they will say, they are child of God. Well, the child of a sheep is a sheep. You might call it a lamb, but you're going to grow into an adult sheep. The child of a goat is a goat. You might call it a kid, but the kid going to grow up into an adult goat. The child of a cattle, you might call it a calf, but the calf going to grow into adult cattle. So if you're a child of God, when are you going to grow into God to know that you are God? You see, the Bible says, I am God and there is no other. Deuteronomy 32:39. You can check it out for yourself. He said, I the one who kill and I'm the one who make alive. I'm the one who wound and I'm the one who heal. You can't wound, you can't heal, you can't kill, you can't make alive. I wasn't first a thought in your mind. Everything starts in the mind. Everything generates in the mind. All birth takes place from the head. So when it says Christ is the head of the church, is your body talking about? It's not a building. All intelligence comes from the head. And the rest of the body is a slave. You can't tell your bottom to go in the toilet and take a shit. You have to go and do it. You have to take off your clothes. You have to bend down. You have to do all of that. Because why? Your body is a slave to your mind. So if you do not understand the power of your mind, you will never know who you are. Neither would you know who is God. Doing the work of God doesn't mean going and sharing checks around. Do you realize if you have a business that could employ 100 people and you put in food on the tables of 100 people, do you know that is you doing the work of God? You reading of a man feed 5,000 people and feed 7,000 people. You ain't feeding nobody. You ain't producing nothing, just condemning people, judging other people, believing that you're better than them because you think you could be good. No one in this world could be good, and no one in this world could be bad. You have to be both good and bad. From now till the day you die, you'll have both positive and negative thoughts. You could be on the pulpit preaching and a negative thought come and you ask yourself, where did that come from? Even while you're preaching. Even on your deathbed. You're going to have both positive and negative thoughts. So, don't go to no extreme. Don't believe you're good and other people bad. And you believe that you save and other people unsaved. It's a wrong way to think. When you start to think that way, you start to become judgmental about others and think you better. When all of us have to face mind battles every living day of our life. And you're telling me that the Bible is not a book of mind science. It's all mind science. It's all about the mind. And if you don't govern your mind, somebody gonna govern it for you. That's why politicians do govern people's mind. That's where the word government come from, to govern your mental. When you're supposed to govern your mental. I live in a country where people believe that politicians are supposed to provide for them. When you're supposed to provide for yourself. Physician, heal thyself. So everybody looking for someone on the outside to come and save them, to give them something for free. When nothing is for free. You inhale and you exhale. So you're getting something from the plant and you have to give back the plant something. But you have to give first. And giving and receiving represent life and death. One is an inhalation and one is an exhalation. When a person dies, they give the last breath out, last exhalation. And your first sign of life is an inhalation too. Yet they convince you that you mustn't close your eyes and practice mindful breathing. You mustn't close your eyes and go into your closet, your secret place, and meditate and visualize. Because why? If you do it, you would no longer need a preacher. You would no longer need a politician. Because you know governing and ruling your life. And you know how to go inside the kingdom. Because you find the kingdom of God in you. And you know how to go in the kingdom and appropriate your life how you want it to be. They don't want that. But my brother and my sisters, you have the power. Because you will always ask yourself the question, who am I? And when the answer comes, it must be I am. That. What is the that? I am that I am. You are whatever you believe yourself to be. As a man thinketh in his heart. You just think in your heart, the Aaron. You think it's the Aaron he's talking about? You have to understand symbology when you read in the Bible. You have to understand it's a book of mind science. You have to understand it's a magic book. Do you know if you could connect your physical heart with your brain, you know what will happen? But before you connect your heart with your brain, you have to understand the inner sun. Because when you feel a certain way, you start to generate the sun that is in you. When you start to wake up in the morning, you be joyful. When the sun starts to rise in the morning, it's joy for the plants and the animals and everything else, you know. You wake up the same. So many people talk about heart and brain coherence, but they never tell you about the solar plexus. The place of the sun. So my brother and my sisters, our people have always known that there was an inner science of the sun. Melanated people have always known it. Black people have always known it. That's why I know it. It's in my DNA. You can't take away a people DNA. You could enslave them, you could kill them, you could do that. You can't take away the DNA. That is why there's people like myself who will wake up and realize the devil is yourself. So when they tell you there's some devil on the outside and so on, and they keep you under fear. Most people go to church because they think that when they die, they're going to go to a hell and they're going to be punished forever. Yet, they can never overcome gossiping because they do not understand the power of the tongue. They do not understand the power of thoughts. They do not love themselves, so they do not love others. So they always have to speak negative about others. But when you love yourself and you appreciate yourself and you realize everyone else is you, just another version of you, you accept everybody as they are. You don't judge no one. You don't call no one unsafe. It's foolish to call someone unsafe. There are people who like to judge people based on their sexual life and talk about adultery and fornication. The very Bible says that all of Israel committed adultery. So what do you mean? It not mean all of the people in Israel were sleeping with somebody else's husband or wife or something like that. It's not that. There's no preacher could tell you that it means. So it means that when you think that adultery and fornication have to do with sex alone, you're blind. You're dumb. People just be committing fornication and adultery with the banks and the credit unions and don't even know it. Because if you learn that earning money is an energy game, and you know how to play the game, you would realize that the power that was used to build the bank is greater than the bank and greater than the money. The power that was used to build the credit union and give you the credit union, that power is greater than the credit union, greater than the money. So what you have to do is find the power that create money. And the very Bible said that money answers all things. Not some things, all things. And then there are those who like to say the love of it is the root of all evil. But it's saying that you shouldn't love the thing on the outside before you love that which is within. That's what I tell you. So you have to love yourself first. Because if you love money more than you love yourself, you're going to commit yourself. That's what the Bible tell you. The Bible not tell you mustn't get rich and you mustn't get money. You know how much people life you could help with the more money you get? And so the preachers get richer and richer while the congregation suffer and suffer. Let me encourage those who follow me to help me get this channel up to 25K. They have certain, I mean, I'm not afraid to say, you know, they have said certain things that didn't go down good with certain people. And they try to, you know, deal with my channel from growing how it's supposed to go. Okay, but they're not doing anything to me, they're doing to themselves. Okay. Someone said you have a good heart, BlackMadGuru. Thank you very much, my brother. And the reason why I have this heart, it is because I do not believe that I'm better than anyone else. And I do not speak based on what other people say. I speak based on my experience, and I decide to share my experience with the rest of the world until the day I die. I would never stop. It doesn't have anything to do with how much money I make on YouTube or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. So those who think they could stop me, because if you look at my channel, you see in 1 month I had over 8,000 subscribers, and because I say something that somebody didn't like, they reach out to me, you know. They reach out to me, telling me, oh, I am not a troll. They're angry. I am not a troll. But you're saying this and you're saying that, and you're using AI. You're using AI generated answer for answer back people. If you have to answer 1,000 different people, and there's an easier way to answer them, you will be able to answer them just an easier way. But you're not going to make that thing control you. Because I speak about AI and the mind. And what AI will do to people's mind. Doesn't mean I'm not going to use AI. If I speak about the bank, it doesn't mean I'm not going to use the bank. I'll use the bank. Okay? As a matter of fact, I have a bank account. Okay? But I'm not going to make the bank use me. I'm not going to make someone tell me, oh, well, okay, you could borrow this loan and that loan and all of that. I'm not going to do that. Okay? Someone else can do that. And nothing wrong with that. But when someone is exercising their right, which is your right to speak, and because you're on a platform and they want you to say what they want you to say, and someone gonna say, oh, well, okay, I'm gonna make sure his channel doesn't get certain amount of views, and I'm gonna make sure he doesn't reach certain amount of people. You're not doing me anything, you're doing yourself. So when people start to reach out to me and say, bro, what happened to your channel? Like the shadow ban your channel. How could your channel get in all of this kind of low views? And you sharing so much a great information and so much a great knowledge, and they could see other people teaching the same thing, and they get people are willing to sell themselves. People are willing to sell their soul for what? For money. I'm not gonna do that. I'm leaving this planet with my dignity, bro. Someone says, yeah, because you are the knowledge and it's inside of you. Yeah. The half has not been told. Then he even say you were higher than all these sad gurus. You know, for a long time they try to make people believe that only those men in India could be spiritually enlightened people. And here in the West, they have the people saying, I'm a man of God. Nobody now say, I'm a God man. They always say, I'm a man of God. A woman will never say, I'm a God woman. They always say, I'm a woman of God. You see how they get you to speak backwards? You're God first, which means you're spirit first. And you take on a body. So they're chopping you in the body and make you believe this are you. So you are speaking about this. I can't hide those things. That's why I say I'm willing to speak to anybody. So if a person who believes in Christianity want to reach out to me, have a conversation with them. If a person from a secret society want to reach out to me and speak with me, I'll speak with them. I have discernment. I know what to accept and what to reject. Someone say God here is like wool and skin like bronze. People normally use that scripture and so on. But I am telling you, a black man walk out from the fire that doesn't consume and speak to me. What am I do? Tell a lie? No white man walk out from the burning bush and speak to me. When I check out how all the different Christian religious bodies come into this world, they all start by either a white man or a white woman. Same thing with secret society. So what happened to black people? Something wrong with black people? Nothing ain't wrong with me. That's why I'm not going to keep my mouth shut. When it comes to metaphysics, when it comes to the esoteric, when it comes to all of these things, all they're showing you on the internet is white. Something is wrong. It doesn't add up. And then they want to give you church. Someone say, I say we should smoke one and love. I say we should smoke one and love each other. I don't know smoke one and what you talking about. Okay? Someone commented love. I can tell you love is the most powerful thing on this planet. But when you're judging people because you don't have no love, when you point at someone and say, oh, he's an unbeliever, he's of the devil. You know, let me tell you something. You know, I've never wanted to call any church person any name. Like we say, oh, you demonic, you're a demon, you're of the devil, you hell, you do. I never do that, you know. Never, ever do that because I know the power of the tongue. I know the power of words. I'm not here to do that. They just do that with me all the time. Oh, he's stupid. He crazy. He's of the devil. This, that. No love. You can't find love in a church. You find love in yourself. Because that is the real church. Someone say Bible equal Baal. Not for me. For me, the Bible means basic inner belief, life eternal. Because only when you believe in yourself and you look within, you find your eternal self. Okay? So, the way how the Bible is interpreted to people, that's why they believe it's like that. But if I interpret the Bible another way to you, you will understand it. For example, they tell you Daniel was in a lion den. Which Christian around the world will volunteer for me to put them in a pen, not with lions, you know, some pit bull, not even lion. A lion is a big, strong animal, right? Some pit bull, not even but one, even one or two pit bull. Starve the pit bull for a while, and I don't put you there. And you gonna sit down and turn your back on that. Then you're gonna realize that's not what the Bible tell you. You tell you when you have a situation that could devour you, when you have a situation that could destroy you, when you have a situation that is telling you one thing, it's telling you that you have to tell your mind the other thing and overcome it. So you turn your back. When you say turn your back to your lion, it's when you turn your back to your situations. The way you say, let the poor say I'm more rich. So when things seems to go hard with you, you go and ball. And you go in the supermarket, go complain about the price. Then you will tell me you will turn your back on the lion? You ain't gonna do that? Lying to yourself? Every time I go in the grocery and I meet somebody complaining about the price in the grocery, I always turn there and say, you just go to church, right? You're a Christian. You know, I've never been wrong. The only time I met one person who was complaining about the price and there was a Christian, was a Rasta woman. And I speak to her and she accepts everything I say. I said, don't ever say so. Don't do that. Don't speak those cards them spell over your life. Nothing inside there is expensive. Don't use that word. You're defeating yourself when you do that. Much less to someone will tell me a man was literally thrown down in a lion den and the man turned it back and the lion. But nobody else could do it. Only that man there, Daniel. But nobody else could do it. But you're one like Daniel. You go the same place with Daniel. You believe the same God like Daniel. Watch the man. When people have them kind of stupid belief, they will give them a little cloth at the back of their head and say, wake up. Learn to think. The Bible is written in code. Someone says Christopher Columbus is a code word. Because, and it makes sense, because you were going to tell me, right, that this man discovered all of these different places here and end up and change the old people belief system and give them Bible and they come and they kill and they rape and they do all of these things. I don't believe. There's a lot of things I don't believe. But because we are little children and they put these things in our head. Like for example, in my country, they tell we have a national hero and they tell we the national hero is a Carib. And you know, everybody in the country believe that the original people in our country was Carib and Iraq. And it's not true. Black people was everywhere on this planet. And they don't want you to know that. And then the same Carib people, none of them could read the hieroglyph. And then the church, the Catholic Church, they conceal all the hieroglyphs in my country, had them out a place named Argyle in a cave. I went out that time with a pastor when I used to go to church, and he said, how did us go there to bow down and worship Mother Mary? And you could see they have a picture of Mother Mary on the outside of the cave and so on. And you couldn't go there because the pastor said, if you go there and thing and so on and they call police will lock you up. But I used to go down Layu, a place named Layu, where I have some hieroglyphs down there. And my ancestors used to lead me down there. I used to read the Bible there, right next to the hieroglyphs. So in all of these places, you see the landmarks that they leave. Some people say Mexico, the Olmec. You go in Egypt. You go everywhere. You see the pyramid. You see all of these things. Why is it they happen why is it in these parts? You can find them. You ask people in my country, what the hieroglyph about? Most people don't know nothing about what the hieroglyphs about. The church conceal the hieroglyphs of them. They used to be out Argyle. Then they bring some we call these people with us deal with rocks and stone and so on. We call these people again, babes? I can't remember. But these people come and they take off this thing, and because they move the area out there and they put an international airport out there. I forgot the name of the people they bring from overseas. People that deal with rocks and so on. I forgot the name. Someone say we are one. Of course we are one. There's only one mind, but just different arrangement of the one mind. I talk from experience, as I said before. I was thinking about something, right, deep within. No one could hear me. And I was seeking my ancestors for the answer what I wanted. And I saw the person very close to me. My spirit said, call the person have the answer for you. because they don't get it in a gym or whatever, and they go tell you. I call the person, and the person, the person say, I was supposed to call to tell you this, and I say, I don't know. She was like, how do you know? I say, you know, I always connected. You know that. You know, I always connected. You could connect your mind with someone in Germany, in England, you name it. Anyway, you could speak to someone on a phone, you could do it mentally. That in the Bible. Joshua 1 and 3. What you think he talking about when he say, anyway, so life feet shall go? You think it mean walking up on the physically? What you think he parts of them don't want you to learn meditation and visualization? And Matthew 6:6 tell you must do that. Go in the closet. I see a woman take out all she clothes out of she closet in a movie. They give the wall called War Room. And people believe that foolishness. They talk about them a prayer warrior. TBN give them that. And the people who own TBN, they are billionaires. The people who own CBN too, with the man named Pat Robertson, they are billionaires. All the churches in my country, the headquarters they were in Cleveland, Tennessee. It have a Baptist church right down here, so. One time I meet the white people who own it, you know. Yes. They come and play the testing pressure and doing all of these things. And when I start, they say, that's a crazy man. I say, you are come visit the monkeys that you have been build a pen for. And they living richly. They living like gods and goddesses up in America, in Cleveland, Tennessee. You have the New Testament church down here. You have the Church of God of Prophecy. I could name all of them. And the headquarters is in Cleveland, Tennessee. Just recently, I met a woman who's a pastor. I went out, so and a woman come there, I tried to talk to me. I say, you sure you know who you're talking to? I say, who? She say, this lady is my pastor. I say, you pastor? I say, such and such and such and such and such and such and such. And she admit. I say, in the headquarters in Cleveland, Tennessee. She was New Testament pastor. I say, in New Testament and Church of God of Prophecy was one and the breakaway and all of that. Telling me about. Someone say here, does the average Christian know who Jesus is? They don't. Because if they know Jesus is speaking, what Jesus is really speaking about, when they say Jesus, they want to go worshiping and thinking a man going to come from people always say Jesus coming soon, but they can't tell if he's coming from the north, the south, the east, or the west. And they can't give a date. It's only soon. Soon could mean the rest of your life till you die and then continue soon. You see, and can they explain it without getting mad? No, they can't. No, they will get mad. Because I don't want to talk about Jesus. I want to talk about what Jesus teach. So if you believe in Jesus, tell me what he teach. I prove to you that Jesus teach that the kingdom of God is within you. I prove to you, if you believe in Jesus, Jesus never used to go and join no church, no religion. I prove to you politics. Politicians and according to what the Bible says, politicians and religious people come together to destroy the man. If you believe the man, If you believe. So they have you talking about the man, but never have you speaking about what the man teach. That's why when I teach it, it gonna sound spooky to you. Because you know it's speaking, you have a master magician, a mystic. So all the people worship Jesus. You want to worship me? Me, yeah. You want to worship me? You will say no. But I'm telling you, as a black person, you get a picture of me, get a picture of Malcolm X, get a picture of Martin Luther King, get a picture of Marcus Garvey. You name your ancestors, them, keep them energy around you. Make them fool you. People how white Jesus in the house. You tell me a white man will come save you. When that gonna happen? Someone say thank you for the Holy Spirit. Whiskey. Amen. The man I tell you, he drunk. And this kind of knowledge. And his drunkenness is one of stimulation. So he gets stimulation for what? Revelation. That thing will reveal to him. Someone say, Jeff B, Nimrod said to Jeff B, I doubt that they know. No, they don't know. And would definitely get angry. Of course they will get angry. I know this having come from a Christian family. Right, you see? So all of us who speaking, I speaking and those of you who are listening, we've been there. I was there. But I wasn't there because somebody come and witness him and I get frightened. No, I was asking myself, who am I? That's why I named the video, who am I? And who's God? Since I was a little boy, is that all been my ambition? I went to church for 25 years. Preacher said, "Boy, you're a special man. You call out. You're a mighty man." Man, at time I have an old, watch me. At time I had an old piece of Bible. I grew up so poor, eh? I have old piece of Bible. All the things jumping out. A man come all the way from Trinidad. An Indian man used to come, boy. That man used to go crazy when he see me. Boy, this man is a mighty man of God. God gonna use this man. That time I was a boy. One thing man say, I just buy this new Bible. No, God tell me, give this man my Bible. Man, just give me Bible. Man, give me Bible. So I know I talking about the three major man in this country, my country, one day. He used to run a program called Encounter. I speak with them man before. And all of them say, boy, God talking to you, God doing this. If I go and show them now and try to correct them, they go say, nah, he's of the devil. So I know I'm speaking about. When I start to speak in my country, they call me crazy, man. Someone said that's what that mean. If your eye be single, your whole body will full of light. Yeah. Matthew 6:21. I could testify that because I experienced when the eye opened inside of me. That's how I know I know. A literal eye would open inside of you. And you will change from mortal to immortality. You change to another form. You come out and you have the bulge. You are the bulging butt. You are a butt from a skull. Not from a vagina. That's why I written a book. Get that book. The Secret Vagina Mystery of the Bulging Butt. Get that book. I didn't write that. I would like someone, are you like some people come and visit my country, you know? Yeah, sooner or later, once I have health and strength, I want people come and see. And you see I couldn't get this knowledge no other way than through experience. They don't have no library down here to educate people more than for go school. You go in a library, just academic education. That's why people them with education and so on, they call me a crazy man. Choppity crazy. You lose your mind. Someone say Imran, he was my teacher in the 1980s. Okay, I guess this person is speaking about one of the men I mentioned. Well, I tell about Blair, Bobby Hemming, one of those Henry Clark or whatever. Okay. Jeff B say, oh, you're in New York. Okay. Oh, you're talking about Bobby Hemmett. Yeah, Bobby Hemmett was a good teacher. I love Bobby Hemmett, but people used to laugh. All the people in Bobby Hemmett audience used to laugh because he's very humorous. But the man was talking some serious things. Yes, and thank you for reminding me the word I was trying to say uses profanity. So Bobby Hemmett used to use a lot of profanity. I just use them too. Okay? So because of that, it was hard for me to listen to Bobby Hemmett coming from a Christian background and believing in Christianity and believe there's such a thing as a bad word and profanity and so on. But then when I started to listen to Bobby Hemmett started to answer a lot of questions I had based after I don't get my experience and so on. Then I listened to Bobby Hemmett, I listened to Panic for some time too and so on. And then Miss Mel used a lot of profanity. I listened to what his name? Phil Valentine. And I think his background is Caribbean too. I think he basically originally from Trinidad. And a lot of men who went to America and so on too. If you check their roots, the roots back in this man named Amos or something, I can't remember his name and so on. This other man who's together with Dr. Ben and so on. These men, some of them have their Caribbean roots. If you check Reverend Ike, the only preacher who used to tell you there's no man coming from the sky to give you pie any great by and by. A man who used to have fleet of Rolls Royce. That they used to interview him. This white man used to interview him and ask him, don't you think that you're greedy to have all of those Rolls Royce, but nobody not tell Kenneth Copeland he greedy for his own airport and his own jet, you know. Man, I didn't even know I would get all this energy to talk because I wasn't feeling good. I'm not gonna go beyond 2 hours. I promise you that. So I have 15 minutes left. Okay. Jeff West says I learned if you can walk on water, you can move mountains and turn water into wine and fly. Of course. So the people who think this is literal, they will never understand what the book is all about. You know how much time I appear and disappear in the other world? People when they dream they're flying. I just dream I flying too. But when I could appear and disappear, man, ooh, when I wake up in the morning, I want to know where the power gone, boy. One time, I think it was the 8th of the 8th. Was the 8th month and the 8th day. And I think he had what is called a moon. I saw the moon. I can't remember if it's blood moon or whatever. Okay. Huh? Yeah, it was a Lions Gate. Yeah. Was a Lions Gate portal was open up that time. And I remember that night I was up and it's like I couldn't sleep. I was up and while I was up, I was just drinking a bunch of water. I was just drinking water. And I lie down and I start to fly. It's the fastest I've ever fly in my entire life. And you know what happened? I break into a place that was just strictly magical and I could see the different planets and all the shape. With this oval shape like an egg. That's why I believe in flat earth. I believe it's oval and in the middle. And what is above is below. I believe that. That's how I come to that. And when I wake up, I was blowing. Blowing real hard. The fastest I ever fly. So people take it metaphor. Look, my brother mentioned metaphor. A lot of people don't realize things in the Bible are metaphor. But they apply to your life. Man is mine. And mine is man. And there never was time that man was not. You see, look, my brother saying it here. So you see, great mind think alike. And if you ever come to this little island where I live with over 120,000 people, you realize how could a man grow up in a country like this and becomes like this to speak all of these things. And I tell you, it take me just about a year, then I started teaching after my experience. And man started to say, boy, it have people in my country to ask me, you just listen to Ray again. You just listen to Ray. After people start to ask me for so much, I said, who do Ray again? No. I said I used to listen to a white man named Kenneth Hagan. We used to preach about faith, and up to now I couldn't understand what this faith thing about. But now I know it's all about and so on. Because they're teaching you blind faith in church, okay? They say, no, Ray Hagan, he black. After a while, I go research the man, Ray Hagan. And I always remember the man talk about when the first time he hear a man say that the resurrection of Jesus is the resurrection of Horus. And he chant the man. He say he spent a whole year preaching on the man. He actually speak the truth because preachers always do that, preach on you. He say he spent a whole year, he used to run a radio program. And he said one day, boy, about 3 years later, he was walking down a certain street and he looked into a bookstore. And he see a book marked The Resurrection of Horus. He said, what? Which resurrection? Johnny resurrection in his G. He said, when you go from that, to cut the long story short, that's what changing my life right now. The man teaching on the internet, a man named Ray Hagan. And his whole family, he come from a church family. And he tell you, and he's a pilot. He's a pilot, this guy Ray Hagan. He tell you his family are millions, run big church. Just like this other man, Carlton Pearson, a man who had over a church. You could imagine you have a church with 6,000 members. You know how much money you make? And the worst mistake he make is go and tell the people all along he was teaching them a lie. Telling them about eternal hell and this and that and how he used to question his mind and he just can't live with it. And there's a man who been chained with Oral Roberts and Billy Graham and them, You know what happened? The man lose the church, lose everything. I've been teaching this thing here that Jeff Westby say right here. That the Garden of Eden came from the mind of man. Of course. How to say that the garden. We just plant and sow and reap. And you just impregnate. And when they become impregnate, you just bring forth. And the manifestation will be either Cain or Abel, which means it could either be destructive or creative. And people believe Cain and Abel was two boys. And then they find wife. Everything come from the mind of man. Jeff Westby say Jesus is I am. That's why, thank you for mentioning, that's why in my, do you know I removed Jesus out the Bible? I have a Bible, it's called the 66 Books of Magic, the Overcomer's Bible. I put the Bible together and I summarize every book in the Bible, from the old to the new, summarize, give you a little summary of what it's all about. And in the New Testament, I remove Jesus and I leave a blank space for you to write your name, I am. And anyone who wants to use it, you put I am, and you just choose the affirmation, the accolade where they give to Jesus, and you choose it, and that's yours. You realize that people think they could say, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and think they're speaking for someone else. You can't say I am for someone else. Every time you say I am, is a self you're referring to. Every time you say me. That's why I say, if you believe in God, believe also in one. Me, and yourself, you tell you about, you have to believe in yourself. Woo! I feel so good. I don't know where the weakness and everything I had this morning go. I don't know where it go. The flesh man. People think the flesh man is them. The story Esau and Jacob too. Esau the hairy man. You see how me hairy? Are you out apart? And say Jacob see God face to face and he call the place for pineal. Man, when your pineal gland open, you know they're gonna say, oh, he smoke weed. He do that. You know, among the people say, oh, especially some brothers in Africa. When I was telling them who they was following William Branham, they tell you that this white man was a prophet and he's the last day prophet. And William Branham is so out and go to the grave. This other man who was say he was prophet too. Now I'm gonna tell you his name. The man used to wear a breastplate. All things deceive a bunch of people. Alexander Dowie. A man named John Alexander Dowie. William Branham used to go by his grave. And then William Branham tell the people he's the last Elijah, the prophet. When I started to tell my brothers in Africa and my brother in my country that this man was a Mason and he was a part of the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, I even showed them in the morning his book. I have his books home and everything. When he got shot in his foot by accident when he went on a hunting trip when he was 14 years old, he said he would always be grateful to the Masons and the Ku Klux Klan who pay for his surgery. But he became one of them. I'm nothing wrong with that. I mean, condemn any man. I'm not doing that. That's why I say anybody. I could speak with anybody. If a man from Secret Society want to have a conversation, I have a conversation with him. If a man from the pulpit want to have a conversation, I have a conversation with him. I have no judgment to pass on nobody. My brother say here, you on a roll today. Oh, them brothers telling Jeff that. Yeah. You see, we're building each other. Because I didn't know what it last so long, but because people like you guys come on and you're making this kind of comment, you know what I mean? The deep call it to the deep and the deep responding and we're building one another. That's how it's supposed to be. Because why? United we stand, what? Divided we gonna fall. I'm not speaking from books. I never read Epic of Gilgamesh. I never read all of these kind of books. Illumination or whatever. I never read all of those kind of books, but I would like to get them. I guarantee they're gonna bring confirmation. That's what I'm saying. If you listen to me, you have a book or two, and you wanna send a book or two for me, I'll be grateful. I have a brother who in America who sends some books to me, and I'm so grateful for him. Helping me to put a library together, because I'm telling you, nobody, if people have certain books in their house, in my country, they don't keep it a secret, they don't want to share. You see me, I want to share. I ain't going to stop share. My mother said since I was a little boy, all the time I want to help people. If people know the love behind my heart, they wouldn't believe me, because they just think I'm a critical person. Like, for example, to come into this place, let me say this, the gate lock. I have to go all the way down by a church to park my vehicle. I went and confront the people. I tell them when it's the tourist season, and it's going to be in this month, the gate will never lock. They vex with me, they're angry with me, because I tell them that slave mentality. Because they believe the white people rich and they have money, and they believe we don't have anything. When all the money is an energy game. It's all an energy game. Money was first a thought. It was first an idea. It was first imagine, and I didn't know that. I used to have a bunch of money problems. I don't anymore. I don't have no money problem. Money is my servant. I'm not a servant of money. Watch how many years I do YouTube, and they refusing to put my video out there to get a certain amount. And it's not a problem, because I didn't start looking for that. I didn't even know YouTube does pay. I didn't even know that. I see others who are selling themselves. Because they go and tell you what to say and when never say. I don't want nobody tell me what to say and what not to say. That's my First Amendment right. I have the right to speak. And the same people who go to church, you know, they tell you the reason why they crucify the man who they say they are following, you know. Because man may not speak. Oh my God, the half has not been told. No. Because even me, there's certain things I just have to, you know, I choose my words carefully. And there's certain things that I have to keep a secret, and certain things will always remain a secret. Because when you have certain experience and you have inside, it doesn't matter how much you talk. You alone have it. The Jesus, the French word, for I am, really look like Jesus. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You see, English language wasn't our first language, so they could use the English language for trick you. Emrad, sorry about that. I just had a large coffee black. Okay, 2 sugars. That's why I love my coffee. If I ever drink coffee, I don't drink it that much. If I drink a coffee, I want it just like me. I want it black. Okay. And let me say this. Sometimes when I speak, people think I might have something against white people. I'm not against white people. Not one thing. The amount of encounter I have with my little daughter, white people meet, oh, she's so beautiful. A woman come here is a gift from Germany. A man come have a tourist ship. He came out of a supermarket. I had my daughter lift up, come and give my daughter the rest of the change. I tell my daughter as usual. I know I tell my daughter, someone give you some, say thank you. My daughter say thank you. I'm just a truth teller. And I will tell the truth. I'm not stupid. I could look around in my country and see the slave master children still in the ruling class with all the businesses, and when the businesses started and so on. I'm not stupid. And I know secret they pass down from lip to ear to them. But I know I am that I am. Thank you, Jeff Bay. We all know that. And man is mine and mine is man. And there's a time when man was never, there was never a time when man was not. Someone said this is my photo. Okay. Someone say, hi, all Jesus is God. If you want to accept Jesus as your, you see, Savior, please say the following prayer. So repeat after you. Okay. So I must repeat your thoughts. You see how they always want to project their mind on you. Let me tell you something, listeners, okay, because I definitely going to come to a close in maybe the next 5 minutes or so. You know, something I really learned, and that's why I don't judge people, and that's why I will never ever be religious again. I ever go to church. Not even my dead body I want to go to a church, okay? I realize that I can have a thought for you and you can have a thought for me. And whenever people start to tell you these things, what they're doing, they're projecting their thoughts onto you. So they play what? They will all be playing a blaming game. They will all be playing an accusing game. And they being the accuser and believing that they're better than other people. So they believe if you don't repeat after them, you must notice something. They just tell you repeat after me. in the church system to become a Christian, and you know with the marriage system too. I'm reading from a little book, and that's nowhere in the Bible, you know. And then before you do that, you have to go and pay the government establishment some money and sign a piece of paper. So the government making money off of you for marriage, right? And then the very Bible, which is a magic book, which is a mind science book, hey, what he say? He said marriage is honorable and the bed is undefiled. You know what he's saying? He said marriages take place in the bed. It's a union. And when I start to teach people sexual energy transmutation, you know, church people say, oh, that's sex magic. Oh, no, don't do magic. That's of the devil. They know they could fool. But say after you. Okay, let me run down these days because I don't come to a close. Just a blessing in the name of one who is beyond all names. Okay, someone else say, Reinhard Bester, we are all gods. Okay, I guess that is a person who was probably a writer or something like that. Okay, presently God's words are flowing through an enlightened and awakened vessel. Thank you very much, my brother. If you would only open your inner self to know yourself and not have to believe. My brother, thank you very much for saying that, because I'm being honest with you. I'm not the kind of person who want to sit down and wait until I die for someone to say, oh, he was a legend. Oh, he was a mystic. Oh, he was a mighty man. He put certain books together. I'm not going to do that. I'm telling you now, get pictures. I'm telling you now, get the books. I'm telling you, do everything now. Because what they always do, when a man is alive, they try to block you from the man and the knowledge of the man. And when the man gone, they try to build a religion around the man. That's what they've been doing. It's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. That's the same thing they do when Neville gathered. You know, that's the same thing they do when Neville gathered, right? And they vex about with me when I talk something things about. Anyway, I mean, go into that. All in God's time. Okay. Everybody don't go sleep the same time. Everybody don't wake the same time. So you be patient with people. Don't go judging people and condemning people. What's the most enlightening book you have read? One of the most enlightening book I have read outside of the Bible is an enlightening book for me when I learn it through my experience and understand how to read between the lines and understand from a metaphysical and esoteric standpoint. But one of the most enlightening book is As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And boy, there's so much. The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol too. There's so much. But that had a profound, thing in my life. The As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. How to access your books. My books are available on Amazon. They are all available on Amazon. Sometimes people say it's hard for them to find the secret vagina. I don't know how come. Is that? Wait, I forget. I thought I see someone donated 19 something. I forget to still give thanks. I think I may have slipped it by, but I remember I saw something like that there. Okay, so let me say thank you very much for that super thanks there. Okay. Okay. Oh, was using my fast flow. Oh, I don't know how come I miss it. I'm not this yet, but then I don't know when I swipe when it goes. Okay, thank you very much, my brother. And that's the same brother who helped me with the books. Okay. Very, very, very generous person who's been really, supporting this work. And I wish more people can, find a book or two so I could put it in my library. Okay, and not just for myself, after a while and I get a certain amount, I will share with certain people who are open-minded, okay? So yeah, that one of the most enlightening book for me, As a Man Thinketh. How to access your books. Brainwash. Yeah, as I said, the link's down below. The link is down below, so you get Amazon. Someone said, I died, went to a dark place. See, came back after 3 days. What was that place? It's a place in consciousness. It's a place in consciousness. Everything happens in your consciousness. You see, the Jima in you is God. That's why they say God don't sleep. That's why they say God know all things and so on. And God is omnipotent and omniscient and omnipresent. So this body here, shut down. The avatar shut down. but the power that run the avatar still there. So it's showing you a side of your life. Because from the darkness comes the light. So when you understand the law of polarity, law opposite, that's how you understand that you have to accept yourself as being both positive and negative. You always get positive thoughts and negative thoughts. Okay? And definitely gonna read on these and definitely come to a close in a while. Demonic majestic, that's what this person choose to name themselves. Can you have sex in the spirit world when you die? I'm not quite sure about that, but what I can tell you, you can actually. Okay, I don't want to go into certain things, so I'm not gonna elaborate too much on certain things, okay? But what I can tell you is that you can use sex in a very positive and uplifting way. You can use sex to better your life, and you can use it to get anything you want in this world. You can, okay? I can tell you that for sure, okay? And Christians, church people will say, oh, it's sex magic and this and that because they use the word magic for play with people's mind until they accept miracles. And only a man 1,000 years ago could have got miracle. Okay, that way they tell them. Okay, disempowering you, keeping you disempowered. That's what they're doing. Okay, demonic majestic say you do not have to die to do that. Sit in a dark room, project your desires, and you may find out. Okay. Oh, okay. That's Nimrod answering him back there. Okay. Yeah. Whether it's at a dark room or a light room, it doesn't matter. Okay. Some people like to do it in a dark room. Some people like to do it in light. Nothing is wrong with that. Big blessing, King. Big blessing to you, my sister. Tina, how you doing? God Almighty Israel lives. Okay, someone say, and the thing is, I always read everybody comment. Okay, Glenford Campbell. King David of Israel lives. Okay. Lion of Judah, Lamb of Israel, open seal. You know what I mean? People, I read everybody comment, Almighty Israel is the best of planners and the only savior. Open seal. I know when I had my experience, okay, from the base of my spine to the crown of my head, I know seals was open. Okay, I know I went into the ninth ether power. Okay, I know I went to a level above. Okay, my head. Okay, I could only speak on my experience. Okay, I wish that more people would have experience, speak about their experience. Someone say preach BMG, BlackMadGuru, everything first emanates from thoughts, starting on spiritual realms before joining into this plane of physical manifestation. That's how everything is. And how did I really know that? And how do I know that is true, that what that brother is saying? I am telling you, I experience alchemy itself. Because when the Bible tells you shall change from mortal to immortality in a twinkling of an eye, is alchemy talking about. Some people say they are alchemists, but I'm telling you, I experience alchemy. I change from one farm to another. That's how I know. So all the people who waiting for that to happen and think some man gonna come from the sky, where they continue waiting. You have the experience and still be here to tell the experience. True BlackMadGuru, man, know thyself, not believe in another self. The ancestors have been teaching that from ever since. Man, know thyself. Here's my brother again, Universal Flow. Okay, I am is existing. Keep teaching, my brother. Thank you very much, my brother. You've been with me for a very long time. You really supported this work. I'm so grateful to you. And I know that the ancestors will bless you from the north, the south, the east, and the west, from every angle, everything you do. You prosper. Because I know I didn't send myself. I know I didn't call myself. I know what I'm saying and what I'm doing. It doesn't come from ego. But I know when I was trapped in secular Christianity, there was an ego part of me that was still dominating. But no, the ego part is still there, but it's being controlled because I understand. I understand my duality and I understand balance. He said, someone here, Tanisha, say, you are teaching the truth. I see the inner sun a lot. A few days ago, my heart was connected to my brain. Yeah, I felt my heart beat in head. You will vibrate. You'll definitely vibrate. The first time I did that and connect my heart with my brain, I wanted to also furnish an apartment without no money. So you have a place in my country named Coates. And I will go there, I will touch the things. Like everybody else. I'll touch, I will sit down, I'll do all of that. And within maybe 2-3 weeks, I got the answer. And someone, all of their stuff ended up in my house. Someone was studying overseas. And where they had the stuff left, the person turned out not to be the friend they had, and the person wanted their stuff out, and all the thing ended up by me. And this person was a church person, and while we was there and so on with the chucker and everyone, we decided, we're gonna go upstairs and we're gonna cook a pot together, you know what I mean, and have a good time. And while we were there, this woman was telling the chucker, let me buy $40,000 now so I could finish my university study and so on. And before that, I said I want something to happen, something to be said here, so I could say something about what I believe, knowing what I would have done for these things to end up in my place. And I know this woman being a Christian and these people and they believe they're gonna doubt me, they're gonna laugh at me, they're gonna call me crazy, they're gonna say all of these things. I know that's exactly what happened, because when she was telling the man about the money, I said, do you know that you could write a check to yourself and that could be found in the Bible and so on? They brush me off, they laugh after me, the foolishness, stupidness, all of that. You see? Not knowing. She burned all things in my place and leaving them there for a year. So I know what I'm talking about, and I could talk about a lot more things, but I'm not going to do that. Okay. I know a woman in America who started listening to me, and she was working for like $40,000 a year. She put this thing to work and she ended up making 100 and something thousand a year after that. But she only worked for 18 months because she was the only black person there. And this is something that white people always do. They will get the black person to do the work, and after a while they want to bring a white person and you train the white person to do the work. Oh my. And that's what they did with her. At that time, I was still kind of new to everything. So, had I known, I would have tell her to seal it to how long she wanted. But they didn't really know. I was just, as I tell you. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, you can definitely connect your heart with your brain. And you definitely vibrate. I vibrate a lot when I do my stuff. You know what I mean? And when they say nothing vibrates, everything rests, that is true. You just have to stay the thing a certain way and you see it. I could do it with anything. Okay? Someone say, real talk teacher, thank you very much. Video T, you're a king also. Okay? There are no laws in the game of energy. Okay? And remember, as I said, earning money is an energy game. Is that whichever way you choose to play the game. Okay? You see, that's why when they use institution like the church and so on, they program you a certain way. That's why you would know how to play the game. Sometimes you have some people that want to do business and they don't even know how to charge. They're afraid to charge. And I'm speaking from experience, because that goes to me too, because sometimes people are offering course for 2,000, 3,000 US. There's a man on the internet named Myron Golden. I'm giving you the name, so you know I'm not lying. It's from 25,000, And I telling you, what he know is what I know. But he will speak the Bible a certain way to get a religious set of people to follow him. So too, so you know what I mean? He doing his thing. I'm not here to condemn him or anything like that. And there are people who tell you they pay even up to 100,000 for knowledge. Okay? So, somebody say, where you love thyself, you are energy, currency. Yeah, that's so true. Universal flow. Okay. Your energy is your currency. Let's go, family. 90K on the way. Let's stop the screen. Okay. We have to believe it, and we have to see the people at the engine of YouTube, okay, changing their minds. Okay. Okay. I now reach to the donation here. Thank you very much, my brother. You can gain the whole world, but if you lose your soul, you lost everything. Keep peace. Project your purpose. Thank you very much, my brother, because what I'm doing is all purpose. Okay. Archaeologists. Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. Thank you very much, Martin. Archaeologists. They bring archaeologists in the country. Yeah. Someone said geologist is the word, but no, archaeologist was the word I was trying to remember. Okay. Hi to you too. Blessings. Blessing. Wakutamo Moyo. Live in Malawi. It's great to have people from Malawi. Thank you very much. Vera, Emmanuel, hi to you also. Nimrod say, we are BlackMadGuru, we are sending etheric energy to you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You are not alone. Thank you very much. No man is an island. I realize I can't do it alone. I need the people with me because, for example, the people who join, whatever they join, is plenty of them. Okay, so we need to come together. Have you heard of Darius? Yeah, Darius write a psalm already. Darius write a psalm already, but I don't think I've ever listened to a full episode. But I listened to him, maybe could have been a good 10, 20 minutes already. I think I saw him in an interview already. Okay. Universal Soul Flow says, my perspective, the earth isn't flat, it's alive. See, everyone would have their opinion, but I tell you where I base it from, right? Spinning in rhythm, held by invisible hands. Every sunrise, every heartbeat proves that creation will still dance. Okay. Yeah, life is music. Okay. But when I saw those planets and the oval shape, it is my belief that in the middle is where we at, and as above, so below. That's just my belief. Okay. I don't have to be right. I just telling you how when I get the experience, how I see it. Okay. Man, it was the most beautiful thing when I could have seen those planets, man. And I was in a magical land. It's like anything you wish could have happened in a magical place. Good evening, sir. Good evening to you, Damina. It's a great book. I have it. I guess he's speaking about one of those books I mentioned. Okay. Elijah was a biblical prophet who never died. You see, if you understand the meaning of Elijah, you see it's God. Elijah means God, eh? Okay. So when you discover your God self and you realize that you eternal, you can say you will never die. Because for me, I will never die. When I chance and leave off this avatar, I ain't die. And I had the experience, the Elijah experience you're talking about. Okay, hi to you, Charles Clinton. You see, I normally want to shout everybody so much, only problem we have is when you don't know thyself. Yeah, you have to know yourself. Sammy, hi to you. Youth on the Move. Yeah, it's your own book you have written. Oh, thank you for mentioning that. Okay, it's one of my books you're talking about. Okay, so I would definitely encourage you to check out the books, support the work, send me your etheric energy, your blessing. Let us stand together. I have a lot of work to do on this planet before I leave here. There are many people's lives I want to make sure I touch, and I would need the means to do so. And I cannot do it alone. I need everyone who believe what I'm saying, because I know that what I'm saying to you is what I would have experienced, and I'm telling you the truth. And I know the time will come when some of you will be able to come here. I'll be able to set up somewhere that we can have retreat and everything, and you can come here and you see this island, and I will take you to the library and you see for yourself. I will let you see everything for yourself. and you will realize, because And let me say this as I come close to a close, my brothers and sisters. We have to act fast because for right now, the Sandals Hotel empire, we call it the empire, because they take over Jamaica, everything right now. They don't build the resort. When the book, I wrote a book called Bukomembe Resort and the Messenger, right, with the man from England, David Ames, who I think in prison now, but not for what he do down here, other things he do in England, because they make you get away scot-free, take all the people money, everything, all of that, even mines too, okay, because he wasn't paying our what is called income tax down here, and they was telling us lies. But anyway, I wrote that book on that. Even before all of these things happen, I walk off the job and everything and so on. If you get a book, a small book, but right now, and in that book I said that they would bring other investors, which are slave masters and so on, and what they would do and so on, because they know how we've been educated from school and so on. And Sandals Hotel take over, and you know what they're doing? They're gonna build a next one. They're gonna build a next one. So we have to act together to help some people to get away from the enslavement. Because when people was busy with COVID, I was seeing all of the different resorts was building the islands. I was pointing it out to my girl and say, look, you see what they're doing when people was busy with COVID, okay? So let me just read this last comment and I'm definitely gonna close. Fantastic news. Nice having you. Owens, nice having you. And this last person down here, Prakash Ru. Prakash Ra, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Please pray for me. My terrier security has treated me out of what? 30,000 arrests, salary, cheater, names. Okay, name the person and so on. You can actually use the law of revision and revise it and have him pay you what he owe you. The law of revision, you could do that. I teach people that already. I teach people how to win the case with Geico, all of these things. Once it's your right, you see, the universe work by land order. And once the person is going outside and they're trying to rascal you, you could get your stuff. Okay? But you could email me and so on. Okay, so I'm definitely going to come to a close. I really want to thank you all very much for listening to me. And for those who have asked if you have any books, you can drop me an email and so on. I give you the address. I have an American address that you can use, which is a post box. So it mightn't cost you nothing much. And let me say that to my good brother too, because when he sent it through the post office, the last time it cost him some money, a lot of money. But if you send it to my post box, I will take care of the payment when it comes to the shipping company. So, but I have a US post box address. I could give it to you, and you can send me books because I need to have books here to help, you know, our people. Okay, so reach out to me, and I will definitely send the post box address in America. So I believe you can ship from one state to another state for free, and my thing is in Florida, in Doral and so on. Okay, so. Yeah, link me up with that. You know, a long time I was supposed to tell my brother that. Okay, what send me those books? Okay, because if you have to send them to the post office, you would have to pay all 100 US and 100 plus US and so on. But if you send it to my post box, I get it through the shipping company down here, then I will pay the shipping company. It won't be no problem. Okay. So, yeah. Let me just read this last comment. I'll have to listen to this video a little later as you finish with your live recording. Okay, thank you very much, and I'll definitely encourage you to do so. So with that being said, my brother, my sisters, I want to thank you very much for listening to me. Love you all. Take care of yourself and keep believing in yourself. Peace. Out.